Hello, it's Christopher Taylor with Sovereign Harmony. Welcome back. I wanted to check back in here just before the two October eclipses on October 14th and October 28th, and do a little review about what's happened since my last video. That last video back in July, talking about Venus retrograde mostly, and that Venus in Leo, still in Leo. You can see it right here at 21 degrees Leo, just about to exit its shadow period. So next week, it'll be out of the zone of the zodiac where it retrograded. In addition to that, Mercury was also recently retrograde, and you can see Mercury here at 18 degrees Virgo. It's just about out of its shadow as well. That's actually just a couple days from now. Today is Wednesday, September 27th. Okay. On the 29th or 30th, I think 30th, that's when Mercury will be out of its shadow around 21 degrees Virgo or so. So both Mercury and Venus complete with their reevaluation, reorganization aspects of energy that we've been going through lately. Okay, we got the full moon in Aries coming up. You see, here's the sun in Libra. The moon's getting there, so it'll be there on Friday. It'll be opposing the moon. That's our full moon in Aries. So that's a pretty potent energy. But we're gonna skip ahead to the eclipses coming up, and these eclipses, I'm gonna forward our way through here so we can see them exactly. We're going to have one eclipse here in Libra, the solar eclipse on October 14th, and then we'll have a lunar eclipse in Taurus on October 28th. Both Libra and Taurus are ruled by Venus. And so this Venus retrograde, to me, very, very important what happened during this retrograde. And so I went into some of that in my last video, most notably on a global scale, the BRICS meeting. So BRICS is the 5 original nations: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. They met in South Africa here in August, right in the middle of this Venus retrograde. And they're literally discussing, alternative financial and trade systems outside of the petrodollar, et cetera. They've recently added about a half a dozen other nations, including Saudi Arabia, I think, and others. And there's probably 2 to 3 dozen other nations that actually want to be on board with the BRICS club. So that's, to me, that's the biggest thing that really came out of this Venus retrograde. It's kind of quiet and behind the scenes right now, but I feel like these eclipses, because they're in Venus signs, this is what's going to carry things forward. So I'm going to skip ahead a couple weeks here so we can get to this October 14th eclipse. So a few more days out. So we'll get close enough so that we can at least see. Yeah, that's close enough. So 22 degrees, about a degree after the eclipse itself. And so that first eclipse on October 14th, that's in late degrees of Libra, conjunct the south node. So whenever we have eclipses, they're always conjunct one node or the other. That's why it's an eclipse. It's literally just a point where the path of the Earth and the moon kind of transect. That's exactly why they kind of get in each other's way at that point. And that's where we get eclipses from. So the south node has to do with release in the past and letting go. So to me, the theme of the first eclipse is really about a release of the old relationships, and that includes trade relationships, right, on a global scale. So there's a sense of like redoing trade relations on a global scale. On our personal level, this could be about releasing certain people in our lives or associations to open up new avenues for us. Okay, and that's also going to be squaring Pluto in Capricorn. So that reemphasizes the whole idea of like Capricorn being like bureaucratic, top-down government kind of energy. So really does fit that theme of reorganizing business and trade relationships, for example, on a global scale. Okay, the eclipse that we're going to have on the 28th. So I'm going to go ahead a couple more weeks here, and we'll see that one lands in Taurus. So here we go. That's going to be close enough. Yeah, that's close enough. 5 degrees Scorpio with the sun, 5 degrees Taurus with the moon. There's our full moon, and it's an eclipse because it's right with the nodes. In this case, it's the north node. Okay, so it's also pretty close to Jupiter here. And then in addition, we have Mercury and Mars in a conjunction directly opposing that Jupiter. So a lot going on here. But so with that first eclipse, it was this theme of kind of breaking down and releasing the old associations. This one here is like quickly moving forward toward tangible new ends, and it's Taurus, so we're talking about money, talking about tangible things. So this very well could be that a door is opened in those negotiations over the summer, And these eclipses are about kind of closing some doors and welcoming new avenues, okay, very rapidly too. So it's like quickly becomes tangible. There's a lot of momentum in this, because that first eclipse, I didn't mention it, but there is a trine between Mars in Scorpio right here and Saturn in Pisces. So that'll be exactly trined with that first eclipse on October 14th. So there's a lot of momentum, a lot of action combined with like solid, stable, and reliability energy with Saturn. So it's kind of moving forward and behind the scenes with Scorpio and Pisces energy there. So whatever's been set in motion is like a train that can't be stopped, essentially. And that theme is reflected here with the Mercury Mars conjunction. That has a lot to do again with like agreements and agreements that involve action. Okay, so combining like that, like ideas with action, right? And that's opposing Jupiter, so that we're talking about, rapid expansion of these kinds of agreements and actions. Okay, so things are going to move pretty fast. I mean, even starting with this full moon here this week, here just a couple days from now, on the 29th, I think, that's going to open up the doors for these eclipses, and things are going to start moving really, really fast. We've been kind of held up the last few months with Venus retrograde, Mercury retrograde, but now we're going to kind of speed toward the end of this calendar year for sure. I think the next Mercury retrograde is going to be right. I think Mercury goes direct right around New Year's Day. So the last few weeks of December will be a Mercury retrograde, but from now until then, things are moving. Things are really, really, moving pretty quickly. So anyway, just want to keep it pretty brief here on these two eclipses. If you want to get more frequent updates, I do a lot more frequent updates through my Facebook account. That's Sovereign Harmony Astrology. So you can get more semi-daily posts. It's also on Telegram and Twitter. Same thing, Sovereign Harmony Astrology. And if you have any questions specific about this and you want to have a chart reading and dive deeper into what this is, where this falls in your chart, do also contact me for that. But anyway, thank you for coming by again, and I wish you well through these eclipses, and I will see you next time. Thanks a lot.